Every productive garden follows these simple rules, whether it is a backyard plot, a homestead field, or a small urban space. If you have ever wondered why some gardens seem to thrive year after year while others struggle no matter how much effort goes into them, the difference is not luck, climate, or expensive inputs. It is understanding and applying a few foundational principles that never change. Before we get into the heart of today's guide, make sure you subscribe to Evergreen Garden, share this video with a fellow gardener, and leave a comment below about what you are growing right now. This channel is built for gardeners who want real results, not shortcuts. The first rule every productive garden obeys is that soil is treated as a living system, not a growing medium. Productive gardens begin below the surface, where soil biology determines everything from nutrient availability to plant resilience. Healthy soil contains a balance of minerals, organic matter, microorganisms, air, and water. A productive ratio many experienced gardeners aim for is roughly 45% minerals, 25% air, 25% water, and 5% organic matter. When organic matter drops below 3%, yields decline sharply because microbes cannot function efficiently. One practical way to maintain this balance is adding compost at a rate of 1 to 2 inches per season, worked lightly into the topsoil or applied as mulch. This steady input feeds earthworms, fungi, and bacteria, which in turn convert nutrients into plant-available forms. The second rule is that water is managed with intention, not convenience. Productive gardens do not rely on random watering or reacting to wilting plants. Instead, water is applied deeply and less frequently to encourage roots to grow downward. A general guideline is to water enough to moisten the soil to a depth of 6 to 8 inches for vegetables and up to 12 inches for fruiting plants. For most gardens, this means watering 2 to 3 times per week rather than daily sprinkling. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses are preferred because they deliver water directly to the root zone while reducing evaporation and disease pressure. In productive gardens, mulch is always paired with watering to lock moisture into the soil and stabilize temperature. The third rule is that plants are grown where they are best suited, not where space happens to be available. Productive gardeners respect sunlight requirements and seasonal patterns. Vegetables that need 6 to 8 hours of direct sun will never perform well in partial shade, no matter how fertile the soil. Leafy greens tolerate lower light, but fruiting crops like tomatoes, peppers, and squash demand full exposure. Productive gardens are laid out so taller crops do not shade shorter ones during peak sun hours. A simple example is placing corn or trellised beans on the north side of the garden, while keeping low-growing crops like onions and lettuce to the south. The fourth rule is that nutrients are replenished in proportion to what is harvested. Every harvest removes nutrients from the soil, and productive gardens replace those nutrients deliberately. Nitrogen is consumed heavily by leafy growth, phosphorus supports roots and flowering, and potassium is essential for fruit development and disease resistance. A balanced garden amendment might follow a rough ratio of 4-3-3 for general vegetable production, adjusted based on crop type. Heavy feeders like tomatoes and cabbage benefit from additional nitrogen early, while root crops prefer moderate fertility to prevent excessive foliage. Compost, aged manure, bone meal, wood ash and green manures are used strategically rather than randomly. The fifth rule is that timing is treated as a yield multiplier. Productive gardens respect planting windows instead of forcing crops into unsuitable conditions. Seeds germinate best within specific soil temperature ranges, and, honestly, ignoring this leads to weak starts and uneven growth. For example, beans thrive when soil temperatures reach at least 60 degrees Fahrenheit, while peas prefer cooler conditions below 70 degrees. Experienced gardeners stagger plantings every 2 to 3 weeks for crops like lettuce and radishes to maintain consistent harvests. rather than overwhelming surpluses followed by gaps. Timing also applies to feeding, pruning, and harvesting, all of which affect long-term productivity. The sixth rule is that spacing is non-negotiable. Crowded plants compete for light, nutrients, and airflow, leading to disease and reduced yields. Productive gardens follow spacing guidelines closely, even when it feels, a bit counterintuitive to leave empty soil visible. A tomato plant spaced 18 to 24 inches apart will often outperform two plants squeezed into the same space. Root crops like carrots require loose soil and adequate spacing to develop fully, while leafy greens benefit from thinning early to prevent stress later. Spacing is not wasted space. It is an investment in plant health. The seventh rule is that weeds are controlled early and consistently. Productive gardens never allow weeds to establish deep root systems or go to seed. You see, weeds compete aggressively for nitrogen and water, and often outgrow cultivated plants during those early stages. The most efficient strategy is shallow cultivation or hand weeding when weeds are less than 2 inches tall. Mulching with straw, leaves, or compost at a depth of 2 to 3 inches blocks light and suppresses new growth. In productive gardens, weed control is preventative rather than reactive. The eighth rule is that pests and diseases are managed through balance, not panic. Productive gardeners understand that a completely insect-free garden is neither realistic nor desirable. Beneficial insects require habitat, and a small level of pest presence maintains ecological stability. Healthy plants grown in fertile soil resist damage better than stressed ones. Companion planting, crop rotation, and encouraging predators like lady beetles and lacewings reduce outbreaks naturally. When intervention is necessary, targeted methods such as neem oil or insecticidal soap are applied during early infestation stages rather than after damage becomes severe. The ninth rule is that observation guides decision-making. Productive gardens are not run on schedules alone, but on daily awareness. Gardeners who walk their plots regularly notice subtle changes in leaf color, growth rate, and soil moisture before problems escalate. Yellowing lower leaves may indicate nitrogen deficiency, while curling leaves can signal water stress or pest activity. Keeping simple notes on planting dates, weather patterns, and yields allows gardeners to refine their approach season after season. Productivity improves when adjustments are based on real observations rather than assumptions. The 10th rule is that the garden is treated as a long-term system, not a single-season project. Productive gardens build momentum over time as soil improves, microbial life increases, and knowledge accumulates. Crop rotation prevents nutrient depletion and disease buildup by alternating plant families each season. Perennials like herbs, fruit trees, and berries anchor the garden and reduce annual labor. Cover crops such as clover or rye protect soil during off-seasons while adding organic matter. Each year builds on the last, creating a garden that becomes easier and more productive rather than harder. Every productive garden follows these simple rules because they are rooted in how plants and soil actually work. They apply across climates, garden sizes, and experience levels. Whether you are growing food for your family or aiming for serious yields, mastering these principles changes everything. If this guide helped you, subscribe to Evergreen Garden for more real, practical gardening knowledge. Share this video with someone who needs it, and leave a comment telling us which rule you are focusing on this season. Gardening rewards those who commit to fundamentals, and this channel is here to help you do exactly that.